GM, Beanstalk farmers. Beanthoven here again with your weekly call update. At Beanstalk University last week, Publius discussed the unfolding news with SVB.
So we kind of had a crazy, let's say, weekend, or an eventful weekend.
They touched on the risks with holding cash in banks, the effect the situation had on stables, and how this impacts Beanstalk. They also spoke about the importance of moving towards more decentralized liquidity. On Wednesday, Scribe gave the first of their weekly calls and outlined their plan moving forward.
For the agenda today, we're first going to go through the content plan, where we lay out what channels that we're going to be working on or being, how we're going to approach them, the tone, the audience, all that good stuff. And then after that, we'll be going through our PR plan. So a similar thing, but different scope. We're going to go over our timing for meetings in the future, some community members we want to talk to, and then just a few other administrative details after that.
At Thursday's DAO meeting, Guy gave updates on some upcoming BIPS and the ETH Well timeline.
There are really 3 BIPs that the DAO can expect from Beanstalk Farms, at least, over the next couple months. The first of which is what's currently called Sunrise Improvements. And there's some more testing being done with regards to some simulations of how this new model would perform in past seasons, and hopefully that proposal can go up by end of month. The other, which is a bit farther out, is Silo v3.1, and that is going to provide a lot of the infrastructure for things like tokenizing deposits, a future gauge system, as well as changing the seeds per BDV reward for unripe assets. The other BIP is the BIP that integrates Wells and Beanstalk, and so hopefully all of that will be in auditors' hands in, call it, a month's time. We're currently projecting mid-May for having the ETH Well whitelisted.
Publius gave context on why these BIPs are necessary and discussed how Beanstalk should respond to the recent SVB event. They also outlined their goals to communicate more on Beanstalk's future.
It's becoming clear that the general limiting factors to a close to finished version of Beanstalk is a on-chain gauge system, an on-chain governance system, and then some sort of set of DeFi primitives that can facilitate real economic activity in 1155 tokens. And at least on this end, feel like there's not enough clarity as there should be collectively on where things should be in 1 year or 2 years or 3 years. And that's some of what we hope to really be able to contribute to the community over the next couple months, is high quality contributions on all of those fronts.
Also, Chris Blec of Blec Report described the decentralization work he's doing with Beanstalk Farms.
One of the first steps is going to be Twitter Space, where I just sort of start from scratch. I just ask really basic questions about how it works and understand how the code is implemented and understand who we need to trust in order to use it. And at the end of the whole thing, that's what I want to do. I want to figure out, who do we need to trust? Do we need to trust anybody? How much do we need to trust them? And how much of your money do you really want to be putting into this thing? And still being able to sleep at night. And ultimately, the whole idea is to help people build their own risk profile. I put the information out there, and then people can decide for themselves.
Sweetredbeans gave updates on the Wells design and talked about the broader visual strategy.
Really trying to sort of develop an opinion here on how we can zoom out and invite the rest of DeFi to sort of participate in the tech stack that we're building. And then, additionally, have spent some time sort of outbounding to help us find the right individual who can sort of help us develop the right visual strategy and execute on it to sort of communicate this to sort of the broader DeFi audience. And so have had some success there and hope to introduce some folks in the coming weeks that I'm excited about.
Lastly, Silo Chad gave updates on the audits with Halborn and Sifrin, the UI work being done, Silo v3.1, and Sunrise improvements. 2 final notes. Patrick Collins of Sifrin has been continuing his live stream Wells audit on Twitch.
Functions is probably fine, interface is fine, so it's really just pumps and levers. We have the manual review, and then I'm pretty good. And then we can start thinking about more systemic stuff. Wow. This is we actually got a lot of context so quickly.
We'll include a link to that below. Also, don't miss the Twitter space with Chris Blec today at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 Pacific. That's the news from last week. See you next Monday.
There's something fishy with this, something weird with this. I should probably delete that.